Press, yeah. Cool.
Okay, I think we are on. We are on. Welcome, everybody. This is our Film Friday event with Mujeres de Maíz and celebrating Mujerista Moviemaking with Dr. Osa Bear de la Riva and Dilo and Women Image Makers. So thank you so much for coming and being here with us, spending this Friday afternoon to watch some cool classics made by Osa and made by Women Image Makers. So I'm really excited about tonight's screening. And before we get started, I just really want to make a quick pitch about this year's main focus. All of our programming for Mujeres de Maíz is being focused on our fundraising efforts for the up and coming feature documentary on Mujeres de Maíz. So we're asking folks to please donate to the story, the history, the voices of women of color who identify as Indigenous people, and so these our stories are unique, and it's also history of LA that needs to be told. The story of Mujeres de Maíz, and so we're very excited for this project to be birthed next year, which is going to be 25 years of artistic and work made by women of color, and the activism of women of color in LA, and how that has created so much social change and empowerment for women, our communities, and I would say the world, because that feminine energy, which is so diverse, is crosses boundaries everywhere. So it's affected not only, I feel, human beings, but also our Mother Earth. So I'm very happy for that, and so we ask you to please, if you can, to donate a little bit. No amount is too small or too big, and if you can, to please spread the word. We really need to spread this word so that the folks that do have the means can support us in that way, support the history, her story of LA via the work, the desire, the passion, and the visions of urban Indigenous women of color. So thank you so much. And without further ado, let's get started. So I want to welcome our sweet friend who has always been with Mujeres de Maíz, Dilo. Please take it over, Dilo.
Thank you, Claudia. Like Claudia was saying, I have been with Mujeres de Maíz for a long time, since '97, and I always am here with full love and full of humility, and so happy to be a part of anything that Mujeres de Maíz puts on. And I just want to say thank you for having me. So I just want to take a little moment before we start to just remember that there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of stuff that we have to battle, and yet here we have spaces that have been intentionally created by beautiful women to sort of take a pause, remember what is our truth, remember the beauty that we create even amongst the chaos. With that, I do want to introduce who we are here to hear from, and also who else we'll be hearing from as well. I'm going to read their bios right now. Dr. T. Osa Hidalgo de la Riva is an internationally renowned filmmaker, public scholar, and writer, holding 3 master's degrees in film production, English and creative writing, both from SFSU, and history of consciousness from UC Santa Cruz. She received her PhD in Cinema and Media Studies from USC School of Cinematic Arts. Dr. Eagle Bear has lectured and spoken at numerous film festivals, seminars, community centers, and universities throughout California, as well as nationally in Mexico, Canada, and Europe. Next up, we also have Claudia Mercado. is also a documentary filmmaker and cultural worker born and raised in the community of Highland Park, Los Angeles. She is a member of the poetry, performance, and song group In La Quech and is co-founder of Mujeres de Maíz. As a director, producer, writer, and editor, Claudia has exhibited her films throughout the US in art houses, universities, museums, and film festivals. And next up, we have Maritza Alvarez, is a filmmaker, photographer, and a lover and practitioner of living in balance with our Mother Earth. Her familial footprints are found in the serpent and deer trails of Jalisco and Sonora, in the Papalotel winds of Michoacan, in the ocean fronts of Comondu, Baja Sur, where endangered cawamas and whale calves are born. That's so beautiful. Her matrilineal clans guide her to defy patriarchal constructs and to continue to sow dream bundles for harvest and share. I want to welcome these three incredibly powerful women to this panel, and we're going to get kicked off with having conversations, and then we will show some films, and then we'll bring it back to the conversations, and then some films. So it'll be like a back and forth. And I want to ask you to kindly bear with us, because as we all know, the Zoom world is not a friendly world, and technical difficulties are going to happen. So just bear with us, and as you feel fit or free to comment, we'll try and take those comments and address them, and someone else will be helping us get to those because we can't see them coming in live the same way. So with no further ado, this question is for Dr. Osa, or Bear as she has allowed me to call her. What is Mujerista Moviemaking?
Well, hello, everybody. I wanted to give thanks. I'm on Ohlone land right now, and I also wanted to thank my ancestors and also my familia of women here, the De La Rivas in Santa Cruz, Lola and Liz and Laura and Liliana. And I also big time wanted to thank my home folk over there in Los Angeles. I'm in Santa Cruz, Insanity Cruz. So it's really cool to reconnect with Mujeres de Maíz and Women Image Makers. So big time giving thanks. And what was the question?
The question was, what is Mujerista Moviemaking?
Oh, right. Okay. So let me see. I think I pretty much came up with that in when I was working on my dissertation at USC and in critical studies. And it basically is 7 principles that I feel are ways that, support feminista, mujerista, lesbiana, queer, all the decolonial subjects and objects and family, blood and extended, that work together, collaborate. Sometimes it's not for money, but we do have stories to tell, and we're using this genre and mode of communication to express ourselves and our communities and our people and our dreams. And I think that, there's 7 principles. I could send them to you if you needed them. I won't say them all, but basically things like, promoting, well, let me just say this. It was so easy in Los Angeles to see the dichotomy between, Disneyland and Hollywood at that time. This was, 20, 30 years ago. And so I just thought, it was the same old hero, white male supremacist. So that kind of idea. So it was just easy to think about a different kind of protagonist or hero or Shira. Bring all that in the mix and privilege basically women of color, and also in our productions that we ask our family and friends and community to be also crew members and characters. So things like that. But I think one main thing also is getting the job done, because a lot of people talk about it. I want to make a movie. I have this idea or whatever, any art form. But just being sure that you get the job done, even if it takes 70, 80 years. Hopefully not. But yeah, that's it. Thank you. Oh, I can't
We
hear
need your mic, Dilo.
you.
I'm so sorry. I
That's
didn't want
okay.
to accidentally burp on while you were talking. So this is so beautiful what you were saying, Bear, and I appreciate that because I think that when it comes to centering our voices, there's nobody who's going to do it other than us, and I think that we all know that, and that's kind of been the conversation, especially as media is changing now. But you were doing this and making it sort of a mission statement for so long, and hence why we're honoring you today. But I have a question around. So, I only know this word because I have been studying under Shuri Moraga, and so I hear this word rasquachi, or like this punk rock or punk style way of creating. And there is this question was not on the list, but it's something that I am always curious about because um, now we have more ways of doing it yourself, like doing things yourself, because camera equipment is very, it's easier to use and figuring out, and people have leaned into their creative talents more, and so we have a wider pool to pick from. But I kind of wanted to know how what were the lengths that you had to go through to get these things done? And I know that this is probably a long, long question or a long answer, but kind of this by any means necessary, and why, and it's almost like I'm so curious, like why film? Because film was almost like the most elitist sort of art form that was out there, because it took so much money to get a hold of equipment, or to get a hold of talent or things like that. So I just wanted to hear, there's not really one particular question I'm asking, but just if anything sparked from what I was just talking about that you could share with us, I would love to hear that.
Okay, I'll try to cut to the chase on an answer, because I think that my first reaction or response was, I come from a familia de artistas. My mom, Lola de la Riva, she can't participate right now because she's in a nursing facility, and like you said, we're on the the backdrop is the pandemic, and it's still not over. So she was hit with that, and we see that the nursing facilities are really they're problematic. And like you said, you used the word elitist, and I think that the art form was for sure. And I started as a poet, so that on the opposite side, you just need basically a pencil or a pen and a napkin or whatever. So going from that to the other was, I think, also an evolution with the family again, because one of my sisters always identified as lesbiana, and we grew up together kind of. So we did poetry together, and we did back in the 70s throughout, what I'll call right now Aslan. But, all the words and terms are changeable. But I also think that that basically came from being able to dance, being able to sing, being able to play with music, being able to note teatro during the UFW, especially in our lifetime, very influenced by going for it. And Rasquache, some people said that that's the way that our aesthetic is now, and in one way, I just accept it. It's a good thing. It's like being hybrid, mestizaje, and all of our mix. So we mix all these genres, and they're continually being created and mixed as well with all the new technology. It's pretty cool. So in cyberspace, I'm not that good yet, but I'm still kind of hanging in there. So to be continued. Like, we could talk to more people this way, and I do feel genuinely connected. It's kind of interesting to still use this format, which we were forced to use, a lot of us. And I give thanks. I give thanks for all of this.
Right on. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's just magical to hear about just art makers who, you know, just went for it. I think that even now it's so interesting because a lot of people are so creative, and there might be hesitancy in just taking up space and owning that creative energy, and to know that you were doing this with, you know, because it was necessary, and to understand that it's still necessary, and we do need to you know, we need to cultivate voices, but we also need to, you know, sort of step out of our own way and understand that we're doing it beyond our personal desires. We're doing it for people, right? That's really beautiful. So this is the final question before we head into watching two of your short films. This first one is Mujeria, the Olmeca Rap. And the question was, why did you, what was the intention behind making this film? And you can also tell me if we should watch the film first and you want to talk about it afterwards. But I wanted to put that on the table.
Okay, I'll say two things that I would like to point out, maybe, because that film is so old. And one of the things was, you know, I've had those that know me, family and friends. I don't feel apologetic. I don't feel rebellious about it. Right now, I don't feel angry or, you know, it's been my life. So I had to go through 3 master's degrees and a PhD to get where I'm sitting now, which is, it is what it is. This is the way my journey went. So after I think the first master's degree, I ended up getting a second one, not by choice, but it worked out that way. Instead of a PhD, I got a master's and was told to go do something creative. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the dates, but anyway, so I found myself in grad school again in another master's degree, and that was at San Francisco State in film production. So there, we were literally moving from the analog world into the digital world. So the buildings were being knocked down, all the equipment. So we got stuck with some of the oldest film equipment. So what was cool about that is I got to play with the actual animation cells. So I got to draw these little animated figures of the Olmecs, which I'm fascinated with. And I like I said, I did poetry and I like music and stuff. So I did a little rap. And back then in 89 or whatever, it wasn't as popular yet. So did a little rap, and because the heads on the animation stand, so I had to pay for actual animation, you know, film, which was very expensive. So the machine was broken, the animation stand. And so the heads came out bouncing like this. These Olmecs that so it's like what the serendipity or something, or a coincidence or whatever. So I just put the music to it, and so everybody was freaking out because it was their grad, you know, thesis, and people were like, "Oh my God, you know, all our footage was ruined and stuff because everything was jumping." So yeah, so I put some music to it. Basically, that's part of the Rasquacha thing. You know, you use what you have, and just as you all know that made films, Maritza and Claudia and everyone, is that you have to go with the flow. You know, something comes up in production and you just try to incorporate it or, you know, cut it out. So it kind of went like that. So anyway, the thing that I want to point out, 2 things, is that my family was always involved all along. My mom was there in the editing room with me, shooting everything. My brother Louis, his artwork's in it. My sister Liz, you know, all the people I named, Laura and Tim, the twins. So they were always involved in every part, getting it done. The second thing is that I loved personally that I was able to play with the actual animation stand, digital and analog. There was like a lot of different, I did pen and ink. We did, you know, all types of different media at that time, what was offered. And I'm like, let's throw that in. Let's throw that in. My friend Augie Robles, he's always going, you know, you throw everything in and like a kitchen sink or it, like, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, it was fun to do that. So, and it was well received. And I think the Olmecs maybe were happy because, you know, they're 10 tons. They're really huge. And so when that premiered, the Olmeca Rap, it premiered at the Kabuki in San Francisco, and they have that like IMAX theater
Yeah.
screen. So they came out when I was kind of tripping. I was like, whoa, they came out really like life size. And I was like, wow, that was another like serendipitous thing that happened. So it's all good. And thank you.
That's amazing. That is truly incredible. I've been to that theater. I can imagine it, and I'm eager to look at it here. So everyone, we're gonna transition over to watching this first film, Mujeria, the Olmeca Rap, and then we're going to go directly from there to the Women Image Makers film, Atlan Angels, and we'll talk about that when we come back. Seems that we might be having a little bit of a technical difficulty. So I believe that we might be able to ask.
Sorry, here we go. Were you able to see the black screen at all?
Yes.
Okay, you were able to see it?
We were able to see it. It just
Okay.
wasn't playing. We didn't see any images.
Okay.
Right now we're seeing Bear and me, though. We're not seeing the black screen. Thank you for bearing with us through these technical difficulties. I could do a trick.
Do you want to just go to the next film? That would be fine. I think I talked kind of extra long, so I want to be more conscious of sharing too. So I would like to hear the women speak. Itza and Claudia.
I don't know where they went.
That's fun.
Sorry, guys. I keep talking, but nobody gets to hear me. I'm so sorry. Were you guys able to see it? Because I was playing.
No, not this time. Not this time. Because this time I think it wasn't pinned. So we were pinned. Me and Bear were pinned instead.
All right. So why don't we do this? Maritza, do you mind talking about women image makers while I get it up and going a little bit? Like who was Women Image Makers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's okay with everyone, can I just do a little pitch right now for the fundraiser? If that's okay, let's talk about that. First off, hi, my name is Maritza, and I'm streaming in from Tongva unceded territory. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the Tongva relatives for hosting us on these lands. And we honor them and all of our indigenous relatives on this continent. I know some of you have already heard about the fundraiser that we're having. And as Claudia is taking care of some tech issues before we see Mujerista Olmeca Rap, I want to remind everybody that Mujeres de Maíz has been doing voluntary work for the past 24 years, every year having a International Women's Celebration live art show and monthly programming. And we've had a number of artists, women, filmmakers, poets, writers, comedians, actors, visual artists, muralists. Every year, a crowd, they fill up the house or whatever venue it is that we have these celebrations. And so throughout that time, Claudia Mercado has helped to spearhead the documentation of every year. And that's huge for us. So we have documentation of these events from 24 years ago to the present. And so this year, before the 25th anniversary, we want to make sure that we have a feature documentary to share with the rest of the world about her story of LA, and narrated by women, you know, as Dilo was talking about, you know, making sure that we are telling our stories. So we're asking everyone if you could just please take some time, you know, and reach into your you know, your pockets, and whatever you can donate will help us out. So if you could please do that, that would mean so much for us. And I think it looks like we're ready. I think, do we have the film ready to go, Claudia?
We do.
Okay, wonderful. Good timing. So let me just ensure that I have the right banner up here.
Right. And we're about to play this.
Olmeca Rap versus the blast from the past. Gonna rock your world, rock it at last. Olmeca rappers, rocking your heart. You will wonder, where do we start? Across time and space, they did fly, with all pan-cultural reason of why. Olmeca Rap comes to show us a thing of the past, that Olmeca Rap is gonna last. The Olmeca Rappers, ancient women with color, ancient Indian stones, gonna rock your world, rock your bones. In the depths of the mind, as hard as rock, as cold as stone, rich ancient culture taking us home. Indiana, Olmeca Rappers with the blast from the past are here to rock our world, here to kick our ass. Through relaxation, they did their meditation across 2,000 years, past the white man's fears. Cool. What was coming down then is coming down now. Focus, that's the word. Have you heard? Focus, creating world so dear, to concentrate on an image so clear. Focus, a point to diverge, a point to converge. Focus, a world of creativity, world of harmony. Focus, that's the word. Have you heard? Focus. Focus.
Yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't keep the credits rolling, but for time's sake, oh, can you hear me? Yeah. for time's sake, we're just gonna keep going. So apologize for not allowing the credits to roll. But that I can watch that over and over. There's just something about the just the quality, the aesthetic of it, the energy. There's just something really fun about it that I personally enjoy. That was fun.
If I could comment, I think that Osa, this piece is just like way ahead of its time, and not only, you talk about focus and vision, like when I see that, and the first time I saw it, I just felt like this was a vision projected 20 years or 30 years ahead, when you made that, and even beyond. And so I really, really appreciate that piece, and it makes me so proud. So thank you. It's always so refreshing to see it again.
Thank you.
And Claudia, you were talking about it's so rich, and the truth is that what you're seeing visually, it has texture, and these textures are really what people are trying to put back into film these days, because it's gotten so digital. But like there's something nostalgic, and yet also very in the now about those kinds of images and how they're being used here. I found that fascinating.
Thank you. Can I say one thing? I just want to give a shout out to my mom, Lola. She designed that female goddess that was cheek unseen, that was on top of the world. She drew that.
Wow.
If it's okay, I mean, Bear, can you share you did share a little bit about how it was made, but who did all the drawings?
We all did. I did the Olmecs. I was just playing with the Olmec heads, animating them, and I thought, well, since they have, they found thousands of clay, the little fertility goddesses or whatever, fetishes, whatever you want to call them, right, around there, and the heads. So they didn't have genitalia or bodies. So I thought, well, it's 51% that they could be females. So I tried to, put lipstick and bling on them. But then in the storyline, my sister Liz helped with the story. And then my brother Louis, who lives in Montana, he did the whole space drawings. He had done some drawings a long time ago. And we put that in. And so just the family like that, put it together. Did I answer the question? I forgot what it was.
You did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
So maybe we can watch. Take it away, Dilo. Sorry.
No. I was wondering, because on the agenda it said that we were going to go film after film, so I just wanted to make sure that we were on schedule with everything. I know that we're past time, but I just want to know: are we playing the women in film? I mean the
Aslan Angels.
Yes, Aslan Angels.
Yeah. Let's watch a little bit of Aslan Angels, and then we'll talk a little bit about how that came about. And so I think here it is.
You wanna know if I could rhyme? My styles are better than all Dolomite. Here I come, freestyle coming #1. West Coast baby, let's party. You wanna say you wanna hear me on the radio? All you gotta do is pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Puerto Rican Nazi right here on the street, coming from West Coast. Yeah, that's the beat. Everybody knows I'm going flow. Here #1, here's up little girl. Diamond little kid, diamond everywhere. West Coast baby, let's bump this shit. Oh yeah. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Everybody knows. Here's the West Coast, and we're gonna go down underground. Underground.
Wow. I heard someone laughing while while the thing was playing. That was great. So all three of you were part of this.
Yeah. Actually, this was directed by Danielle Rios, and Danielle was a mentee with us at the time. And these were the Super 8 films are the first films that we ever made, that I ever made. And so we were taking a film class at LA City College, our very first Super 8 film class. And the prompt was, create a film where it includes a chase. So that was during the time when George Bush Jr. was in office, and I was like, man, that guy's got blood on his head. So I know what, let's do this. So I wrote it, I gave her the idea, and she's like, I'm down, let's do it. So we just, that's a community grassroots production there, where we just gathered all the women. We were mentors to younger women in Boyle Heights, and they were part of the crew, and Danielle's parents were part of the catering. And it was just the perfect spot. And the main thing here is that we had a lot of fun, and we felt it was really important to make a political statement of what's going on, right? Now, unfortunately, like I look at that film, which was almost 20 years ago, and I think, geez, man, we're dealing with the same white supremacist, reality today. So, that just kind of got me thinking, like, how much has changed and how much more needs to change, and how film as a platform to help that change is one of the reasons why I decided to delve into film. So I just wanted to give a high shout out to Danielle Rios. We call her Little D, and that was Aslan Angels.
Can I say something real quick? That was so beautiful to see that again. It really it was healing to see the work. I remembered all of that so much, and watching it be put together and you filming it and everything. So it's beautiful to see that, and where you both are right now as well. You know, thank you. It's amazing. So, like you said, to see the same out there in the political context, but also you all, it's really great to see your own, your progression and evolution. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bear. Well, I have to say that, a lot of our inspiration and, comes from our families, right? And it comes from our environment and everything that's surrounding us. But it also comes from like women like yourself and others like that you've written about that have like actually dared to do it, what we envision or what we want, the stories that we want to tell. Oftentimes they stay inside of our bodies, and so when we actually allow ourselves the freedom to create, because like sometimes I feel like it can seem like such a luxury, but it shouldn't have to be, right? It should be part of like, it's I think it's actually something that's part of our human existence to be able to create. And I think we've in some ways we've been that's been knocked out of us, and so when other women such as yourself, Osa, have have had the courage and the ganas and the vision to actually do that, that has been inspiring. And I feel like with Women Image Makers, the collective that that once was, that made these shorts, was very much inspired by that, by that path that with filmmakers such as yourself and Silvia Morales and it's the other documentarian, Lourdes Portillo. Like their work is definitely seminal, just like yours. And I'm just so happy that we were able to be inspired by your work. And you were there with us when we were just beginning.
So cool. And one thing I want to throw in too, Claudia, thank you both again. It's really it's healing to be here with you all. And what I wanted to say, Maritza, is I remembered how you took little D under your wing, and you were always together, and like just she was always there helping you crew, and you were helping her actually do this, and I'm just so excited that I was able to see it again. This is
Yeah.
great to do this.
Yeah. Bear, thank you for bringing that up, and it leads me to the whole thing about mentorship, and there's no way that as a Chicana, from East LA, that I ever would have been turned on to film had it not been for those before me, had I not been exposed to your work, had I not been exposed to Silvio Morales's I Am Chicana, there's just no way. And the other part of this is that there were a handful of Chicana indigenous filmmakers out there, but which of those were accessible? Which of those really made themselves available to be there? And that's the big difference, right? Because you could exist, but if you're not making yourself available for the younger generation, then it's going to be a lot more difficult. And you made yourself available. Silvia Morales made herself available. She visited the set. She visited one of our productions just to see how we work, and then she brought us on board to help her shoot the next Chicana film that she was working on. I mean, that's love. And you, of course, you took us to our first Sundance Film Festival. You exposed us just to go on the trip. We didn't even have anything. We were barely taking our first Super 8, how to do a film. But she's like, let's go. And we're like, vámonos. That's like, let's just do it with whatever means we have. Let's get in a van and let's make it happen. And that alone helped open the world for me about what film could be like. Even though it was all white folks there, no brown faces like me, I thought, well, at least I'm with the crew here, and we can come back with another crew. We can come back one year. We're going to do it. So I really, really appreciate you. And I know that you're not honored enough, Bear, but out of all the filmmakers out there, yeah, I got to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
I love you. I love you.
Can I actually, I try to share.
Thank you.
I try to share. I have that picture of that we took when we were at Sundance that you took us to. Let me share it with you guys if that's cool. And can you guys let me know if you see it? Because I it's hard for me to tell if you guys can actually see it. Excuse me. Do you guys see it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was 2001.
Yeah, 2001, and Osa, Osa made this happen. She worked it, to take us all to go experience Sundance. Like, who gets that opportunity, So that was pretty kick-ass, and that she was willing to take all these young kids, these 20-year-olds that, young aspiring artists, to go experience the Sundance world. And it was a road trip. It was, it was really cool. And
what's really cool, Claudia, Itza? And I think that I have some of that footage still because I took a little camcorder, and all of you, I asked you a few questions way back. And it was so cool. You were sliding down the hills on snow, and the sleighs and all that, and you all said things at different times, so it was really cool. But being the grandma, I had to sleep a lot, and you all had a lot more energy than I did.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that we ended up, a good number of us ended up going back to Sundance with a film in the festival. Yes. So you set the path, you set that path for us. And that's why I'm so incredibly grateful for those experiences and for those teachings. And that's what it should be like. That's what community is about, right? Community filmmaking is what I would see it as. So, And and in other productions, it was always about involving community on different levels. The local artists from the community where we're shooting, making sure that all the crew is women of color on the crew, from behind the camera to in front of the camera. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful for that.
I don't know what to say except, it continues, like meeting Dilo as well. I like your energy here with our group and our panel here. It feels very full, and I like all the colors that I see here. And this is just a connection. We're coming out of that mean 2020. So I look forward to the things that we'll still do in the future. Big time. I feel that. Yeah. Thank you.
It's so beautiful listening to all of this. I had no idea. I knew that our crew of Mujeres MAs had filmmakers, but I didn't know what was the spark. So this is so beautiful to hear these stories, our sort of own origin stories, I guess you would say. Do we have time for some more films, Claudia?
We do. We have. I think it would be great to show me and Mr. Mauri, which is Osa's latest film documentary. So it's a longer piece, so we're only going to get to watch about 10 minutes of it, if that's okay. But I would love to show. I think it would be great to show that. Is that cool with you, Osa?
Yeah. I mean, is there still enough time?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you chose of it is fine.
Let's watch your documentary work, because
it's about 6 friends that died of AIDS in the first phase, like in the late 80s and early 90s. So we just, again, we tried to have some fun while they were here, and the Spanish subtitles. I'm sorry, I'm linguistically challenged. No apologies, but the subtitles are still. They are what they are. We sent it to Morelia, and we were able to get translations here, and they put them on at the Morelia Film Festival, the diversity, the queer film festival there, and so it showed there. And then we made one boo-boo with the word chaos, KS. It was translated to chaos, but it really was the KS of the source that the people were getting at that time, and the fear around that. So we had to change that when we came back. So this is actually the first time to screen some of this in the United States with the subtitles. So thank you for showing some.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's see. Let me get this on the screen. I think I got it now. Here we go. And let's do this view entire full screen.
School at San Francisco State that we like miniatures. A number of people I know who are Raza or Chicanos, male and female, collect these little miniatures and have their collections. "102. Knew I had a fever."
John.
My name is John Juarez, and Osa has asked me to speak today to the perspective and circumstances that we as people with AIDS are faced with currently. I came to the city when I was 18 in 76, ostensibly to attend school at San Francisco State for a couple of years, and I ended up staying. So I've been here 17 years now, and I don't regret my decisions either. In remaining here, I've developed a real network and close circle of friends, and I'm realizing now how these people really love me. Since I've had a couple of bouts different opportunistic infections and landed in the hospital for a period of days. And seeing their warmth and their concern really makes me feel good. It reminds me that I am loved by people. And hopefully that has been reciprocal, that I've been able to show my love and care for them, because I think one affects the other. That unless we learn to love ourselves, we can't love others. And therefore, when we learn to love others, others in turn love us back. So everything is really connected.
Well, I always felt that you and I, we were always, we had conversations where we were more in tune with the same. What I could trust you so much, even ironically, and that seems funny that you should be a gay Latino male and I'm a Latina lesbian.
I love it.
I know it's a trip. I love it.
Yeah, I've always felt that I could say say what I feel or how I'm thinking or what I think of something, right? But it didn't matter if, but I didn't try to
Censor yourself?
censor it, right? That it would come out because that's how I felt.
That's how I feel about you, and that it won't be judged.
But that's the important thing, that I don't have to worry about, because what will come across is the intent or where it was being led.
At least we would trust on first reaction that you're coming from a right place, and then after that, if we decided to debate or change, we had different opinions, we could argue that in a respectful way with each other. And so, in this 1 year that I've been here, I've said that to people. I owe a lot to you, that you.
You're funny.
No, that
no, that's embarrassing.
You counseled me in a way like that I directly can see changes.
Wow.
That I just trusted your opinion and went with it. You gave me some real.
That's really nice.
Oh, that's why I didn't know how to give. If I was giving you back, I asked that question to myself. I said, well, I hope I'm a good friend to you, or that I've given you anything.
I was trying to make a right-hand turn, and over there people just jump right in front of you, and they're gonna get into something. Right? I know. Right into your lane and stuff, and so I had to do it. And the guy behind me is like, ah!
That's what they do down there. I mean, they surge for it. Here, maybe. Yeah. If you look at Don Dwayne, you may get shot. Are you filming now?
I think so.
Christian, let me tell you.
She's got the learner's permit.
No, she doesn't even know that yet. It's not even 15 and a half.
Well, I know how it goes. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling coffee.
Just on? Not blinking?
No, home.
How do I cut it off?
That means you're recording. Hit it again. Walk over there to the place, though, you guys.
Okay, here we go.
Just walk over there. But you guys could talk, though.
Really?
Talk, please. Oh, no. Originally, it was a very personal, intimate dialogue with my homeboy Mauricio, and it was a promise to him, that I would make this video about his situation.
If you really want to get something, all you have to do is open your eyes and you will see it.
Yeah, and it will come to you.
Oh, it's not still? I mean, it's not still camera, it's real live.
Get close sometimes.
And you mean like you can do stuff?
Why did you want to see him on film?
I can't totally remember, but I think that it came from both of us.
Okay, why did
he wanted me to put the situation, and he trusted me enough that I would, quote unquote, represent his situation and our friendship and our love. That we had commonalities of death and dying and struggle and conflict, and at the same time that we celebrated in the most deepest sense of familia terms, that we celebrated an existence together, a coexistence in love. I don't think that he totally agreed with everything I said and did, or that I agreed with everything that he said and did or was. But on the other hand, I think that there was a basic element of, that's what I keep saying, you know, of trust, of basic trust and love.
And I just can't help the way I am.
Well, quit complaining and whining about it. That's what pisses me off. It's not the way you are. It's that you're going, I'm trying to relax, I'm trying to relax. And then you freak out trying to relax. It's like, well, what the fuck are you bitching about?
It's stressful to come down.
Well, then don't get stoned, Veronica.
But I enjoy it.
How can you enjoy it if you're all stressed out?
I'm showing you my relaxed side. And you think that's the stress side.
I don't know if I will. That's okay.
You're the only one that'll say.
Probably. Other people just go, she's weird.
Well.
And so it comes from, of course, my experiences with cancer. And I think when I was 15, happened to be, you know, I wasn't 38 years old. I wasn't 25 years old. I was 15 years old. And I had to answer it and deal with that in my own childlike way. And I'm being honest, and I'm saying for a second, maybe for a few months, I laid in bed and I was crying and I was sad. And the fucking doctor said, you know, if you get cancer in 7 more years, then that means you probably will die at an early age. And here I am thinking, you know, well, what's going to happen in the next 7 years? Is it going to come back?
Isn't that tough? They're all beautiful.
You didn't look that together. Did you have fun making them?
Oh, I loved it. I loved
Did
it.
they all come out easy, or were they?
Oh, they were as
some
easy
were
as
harder?
Osa.
Woo,
And you know how
that's pretty
easy that is?
easy.
Yeah.
That's very easy.
Okay.
God, is that how you made so many? They're beautiful.
Thank you.
He's got a great sense of humor, huh, Osa?
See,
He does.
Mauri and I would
thanks for the
crack
praise,
up.
Veronica.
The essence, the fucking basic essence of it is we are alive in the here and now. And that's when I was 15 years old, I learned that so fucking deep that look at, and I think this is what my brothers are saying that I have AIDS too. You know, is that, hey, we're alive today. We are alive right now. And that's what I felt with Mauri. We both realized we had faced death. He in his early 30s and me in my early teens or my mid-teens or whatever. We came close to death. We dealt with death. And it's like, okay, fuck it. We're alive right now.
Okay. Woo!
Very powerful.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I love you all. Thank you for sharing, letting me share.
Yeah, definitely.
You all going to show some more films?
Yes, we definitely are. And it's interesting that, you know, I feel that, you know, this confrontation with death, right? That this documentary is exploring, right? And you know, one of the short films that we're going to show in a little bit is dealing similarly with death from, you know, my best friend growing up as a child was my grandmother, and she was like my best friend. I was her comadre, I was her road dog, I was like everything. And then, but when she passed, I never got to mourn her. I mourned her as an adult, and it hit me at a cafe, just randomly. And And so I'll be sharing that short film with you guys in a little while. But this I think our part of our nature is that reality of the cycle of life and death, right? And I think it's such a it's a topic that that is so big, and it can be discussed in so many ways, because from like nature, we're every morning we have a new beginning, right? To like our natural nature selves, right? So, and then to relationships, so it's like so many layers and ways to explore death. So I think your documentary is really powerful, because it's giving voice to a lot of, especially during a time where a lot of people who were dealing with that illness were confronting so many stigmas, and so it's I think to this day there's still a lot of stigma around that, and it's never. I think it's just a great way to honor that all of those folks that had to deal with that stigma, and shed light on their humanness, their being. So yeah.
Thank you, Claudia.
If I could comment just quickly there, for many years you've told me about this doc. It took you many years for it to come to fruition, for simply because of the emotional attachment and connection to your, for film's sake, your subjects, because that's your homie, right? And I have not seen this film before. This is the first time that I see it after you talking about it with me so often, and I'm just moved, because you have such a it's so telling of the tender love that you have for him and that you had for each other. And that's so unique as two queer brown folk, like to be able to capture that and document it as it's happening in the real, in the now. It's such a gem, for the queer community to have that. And I really, really appreciate your lens, because it's not just filmmaking. It's never just film. I mean, I don't know if I'm expressing this correctly, but it's not just filmmaking. It's more than filmmaking for you.
Yeah, it's about like
feel it.
It's like community, like community, and what, like, I feel like it's just a great example of like how deep community can be.
How we show up for each other, how we truly, truly show up for each other when we really need it. And that's like, for me, it's queer community. That's queer community. It's just, maybe it's just brown community too, but it's definitely, there's another level when it comes to queer community, because that's our chosen family, right? So I really, really thank you for being here. Yeah.
And I just wanted to say something very quickly, if I could. As somebody who was raised in the, we were also, I think I'm like a step or maybe a half a step younger to you, but we were impacted by AIDS and people in our lives who might have had it. And yet we, like, I'm of this generation that it was such a, the stigma, as you were saying, Claudia, the taboo, the not knowing how you could get it, all of those things that just permeated through mainstream society. And yet we never got to see these very touching stories of people really taking care, and the chosen family, and how we survive these moments together, right? And I think about that so often, because, being of my generation, and still close enough to what was going on with people who, with the queer community and how they were dealing with AIDS. It's like, to see, like, people don't know that AIDS has impacted not just gay men, but everybody across the board. If you were queer, that stigma has affected all of us. It is what we walk with. Yeah, it's just what we walk with, those stories, that trauma, and then also the joy of being with our people in a way that nobody else fucking knew. Anyway, so I just want to say thank you personally.
Thank you, Dilo. Thank you all so much. I mean, this is really, like I said, it's very healthy for me right now. And I know a lot of people are coming around the bend. In 2021, we had greater expectations, faster expectations, more expectations. You know, at the same time, we're all like collapsing because we're exhausted and, you know, have so many, like you said, Claudia, too, you know, there's so much death around us still permeating. And not knowing we're animals, so we're surviving and still in this process in the here and now. We're trying to still thrive as well and regenerate, and we acknowledge that, and so our synergy, it even builds more and flowers more. At the same time, it allows me right now to reconnect with their spirits, these 6 friends right now, and naming them and their presence, and I think that that was like spontaneous. It was like being called to their bedsides and their, you know, situation in like you said. So borrowing a camera here or borrowing some tape here or whatever, they actually called me. They wanted me to come and document some of their last words and you know, their life. But I just wanted to say that it's still on the when I was hearing about, you know, La Corona and COVID and all of this, that people were saying this is the first pandemic. And I'm like, no, you know, we recently, you know, have been dealing with another one that's not talked about as well with SIDA, even though it is a big deal, but still making that connection with what's going on now. We're hoping to use this documentary as a teaching tool, because I still get invited sometimes to go to Davis or go, you know, talk here and there, and Chicano studies or women's studies, or and it's really cool that I realize a lot of young folks still don't know that, like you're saying, Dilo, don't have that. When I was teaching at Berkeley, that many of the students were like, maybe we had a distant uncle that had a friend or something like that, but not really, you know. But it's still, like Randy Burns says, he was one of the founders of the queer American Indian gay center in the Mission. He says later in the movie, he says, you know, but we've had these pandemics all along, and they continue to pop up in different manifestations. So, you know, we're still doing the same thing that our ancestors did, still coming together and sharing our stories in our own particular space and time. So it's beautiful. I'm learning so much from you all. Thank you. I'll try to be quiet now because I think that's been a lot. Thank you all so much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The audience too is so important. To donate, because that's why I'm here. Because when Claudia put the call out, and then I heard Maritza was going to be here tonight too, I was like, you know, definitely count me in, because Women Image Makers gets the job done. I've seen them struggle and work and mentor other people and teach and struggle in their own developments in so many ways, personal, political, educational. So I think also that the folks at home or whoever tunes into this to support this documentary will be really powerful. And then a backdrop of Los Angeles and what all you organizers and artists, social workers, everybody has done that are part of, you know, Mujerista Maíz. Thank you for letting me be part of your family. All right. Love you.
It's beautiful. Thank you. I believe that, thank you, first of all, for everybody who's tuned in right now and in this beautiful, beautiful event. Of course, donate. We are trying to get to the comments too. That second film was called Atlan Angels. That was also a question. And if there's any other questions, please put them back in the chat. If you could stay with us for another 15 minutes, we would love to share 2 other films with you from both Maritza and Claudia here. I don't know which one is going to go first, so
I think if Maritza, are we cool if we show Shilonen, or should I show Lágrimas?
Both.
Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. I'm running low on my battery, so I have to run in and get and charge up here. So let's
Okay.
start with yours, Claudia. Why
All
don't we-
right.
Yeah.
And I just have, thank you. I'm going to mention that actually in this film, Lágrimas de Café, which is Tears of Coffee, Osa's mom, Lola, plays my grandmother. So you'll get to meet Osa's mom as well via the short film. So that was really cool. All right. So let me go ahead and share that. Okay. Let me see if I do this full screen. Enter full screen. Oops. Shoot. Sorry about that. Oh, this is coming out.
La discoteca terraza del hotel contigo.
I see him and I think of her.
Thank you.
Ella también nació de la madre tierra.
continuación tenemos una petición musical. Y la melodía que nos han solicitado es el telegrama.
Antes de que tus labios me confirmaran que me quería, ya lo sabía, porque con la mirada tú me pusiste un telegrama que me decía, destino, tu corazón, domicilio cerca del cielo, remitente, mis ojos son, texto, te quiero, antes de que tus labios me confirmaran que me quería, ya lo sabía, porque con la mirada tú me pusiste un telegrama que me decía, así. Destino, tu corazón, domicilio cerca del cielo, mis ojos son, texto, te quiero, antes de que tus labios me confirmaran que me quería, ya lo sabía, porque con la mirada tú me pusiste un telegrama que me decía, te quiero.
I, flavor of her aroma. La memoria es traicionera. Se revela cuando quiere, como las olas del mar.
Después de haber escuchado a la nieta, vamos a escuchar a la abuelita que le va a dedicar.
Okay, here we go. All right. Stop sharing. There we go. Sorry.
Beautiful film, Claudia. And what a beautiful honoring, too.
Thank you. I'm just so grateful that Lola was willing to. I mean, this production, we had the range was from a 7-year-old to a 70-year-old, and we had everything in between. So it was, and everybody there, every shot, it was all community, family, and friends that came out to support And we made it happen somehow, some way with the supportive community. And so just very grateful for that. Very grateful.
Bear, your microphone is muted.
Well, I was going to say, Claudia, I love the story as well. You know, the story that you wrote with your grandma. That was beautiful. And seeing your family. And it's hard to see Lola like that. It's good, but it's hard. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the most fulfilling productions on set, because we had so many locations on that. I recall, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that was the set where that Sylvia Morales visited. Yeah, she was on set for that one too. When we were shooting in the apartment. But you know what? I thought it was just so beautiful to be able to visit the different local community locations, and the fact that, like you were saying, Claudia, it's about community. Like the vendor, that was your tío, right? That was your uncle. And he was so good. I was like, damn, this guy's good. I remember when I was trying to place the camera in that tight spot, and I was like, how are we going to do this? But it was a lot of that, but it was so much fun because of the crew. I think we got there like at 6 a.m. or something before anybody else could go into the fashion district. Like that was the only way we can use that space.
Or yeah,
so all of that is just really, really nice because it's like a big familia, you know, getting together in every set and trying to make it happen and make the magic at the magic hour, you know. So yeah, those are great memories. That was a lot of fun, and it's so beautiful. I just remember how beautiful it was working with Lola, worked with your niece. Her niece was the actress, the little girl, and it's like, damn, it was nice memories. Talk about
I also want to say that we shot at Dalila's house. Dalila's also Dalila Mendez was also part of Women Image Makers. She couldn't be here today, and also want to say that Aurora Guerrero was also part of Women Image Makers, and she couldn't be here today, but she does send her regards and her greetings. And we have a little video of her that we're going to show in just a little bit. So, but yeah, so we're just really happy to be revisiting these throwback films and honoring you, Osa, because you are one of the trailblazers, and that, you know, we don't get to often have enough time to share, you know, the work, because we're always either we're working or surviving or creating. So yeah, and so maybe we could watch the next film. Were you able to cue that up, Maritza?
No, the only way I'm going to cue it up is by adding it to the stream. So
I mean, do you want to share it?
Yeah, well, maybe while I'm queuing that up, if we have enough time, I can share it. If not, we can move on. It's going to be 8:30 right now, and I know that, you know, that was a set time. So maybe we want to move on to the video drop. And I'm cool because we talked about Aslan Angels, and I think that's
okay. I had to MacGyver it, so I got to just put it on my desktop. Do you mind talking again about the fundraiser or?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So if anybody, you know, out there, like if you all are really appreciating this throwback, you know, talking about her story of Chicana filmmaking, you know, please, you know, tell your friends, you know, talk to your buddies who have money, who can support this type of endeavor of creating a feature documentary film on Mujeres de Maíz, because you know for a fact you're going to see, you know, a variety of artists, women artists in that production. And aside from that, like we're archiving our stories in the same way, for example, that Osa is archiving the story in Me and Mr. Mauri, you know, in the same way that, you know, Claudia is archiving the story of her grandmother. And that's the medium too, you know, the beauty of this medium of film. And, you know, as you all know, with the advent of film, like everybody can make a film now. But what happens when you make a short film and you put it on digital? Is it still yours? it kind of just disappears into the cloud. So these things, what we have here, they're tangible. We have the original cassette or Super 8 film or HD film or SD card. Like, we have all that. And we just gotta, continue to do our part, do what we can to preserve our stories. So please, reach out to those people who can help us to help make this happen. This is the first time that we're actually asking for financial support. This is the first time that we're asking for financial support to be able to do this. So it really goes a long way for us if you can do that. And the other thing is, I want to just say thank you to all of the Mujeres de Maíz volunteers that have helped throughout the years, including you, Dilo. I mean, you've been there from the get-go. You've been there from the get-go, from the beginning. And anytime we need your help, you always show up. So we really appreciate all the Dilos out there.
Well, we need y'all, so that's why we do it. And just a little bit, this documentary is taking it's over 20 years of footage, and it isn't. This is a Los Angeles story as much as it is a Chicana story, as much as it is a spiritual, because all of these things are coming together in this documentary. And so please, even if you don't have that money to give and you can't find somebody to give, definitely support this film, because it is a unique perspective of creating art in Los Angeles during different political things that were happening in the city. So I'm excited to looking forward to seeing this film.
Yeah, you put up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Did
go
you
ahead. No.
I just wanted to say, how crucial it is for us again to heal through this creativity that you're pulling together, making this happen, having audience, doing the art, and also, like you're saying, the herstories that have been generated. It's deeper than that, because also you were taking, intergenerational people, you were doing different issues, you were doing the intersectional, decolonizing in all the films, and all those kinds of messages there, in the traditional type of university setting for undergraduates. I know, especially now that you have all the, identity politics, everything, basically, all the cultural studies. These are good materials to revisit that tell, like you said, so many layers of story, and different types of story, and different types of character. And I remember my mom, Lola, saying that when she came down to Los Angeles to shoot with you all sent for her, and it was a big deal. Oh, Miss Lola's going to Hollywood. and then you had the screening, the premiere at that museum, or it was a center up by Hollywood and Sunset, Barnesdale or something. It was the
Barnesdale Park.
Barnesdale.
Yeah. So up there. And then we all came back again, and artists, Leo Limon, a bunch of us went there to go see the show. And so even in the telling of the stories and the audiences, how important it is to come together. There's so many different layers about the work that I know that not only women image makers, but Mujeres de Maíz have done all these years. I've been able to go to a few fundraisers and support, a few different projects. But the movers and the shakers and the mothers and the sisters and the brothers that are the community of Mujeres de Maíz in Los Angeles. It's overtime. It's past time that we all learn and continue to hear from you all and see what you're doing. So I will continue to promote that you definitely get this doc out, in the professional ways that you do. It's so beautiful. You get the job done. So big time Mujerista movie makers. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm going to just let you know that I'm going to get Rascuacha right now, because so Aurora sent a video for you all in particular to Osa. And she sent it to me on my cell phone. And usually I can just forward it to my email anywhere I want. And for some reason, it's not letting me. So I'm going to play it and I'm going to show it to you all like this, Rascuache style, because that's what it has to be right now. So here we go. Okay. Let me put up my volume and I apologize, but we're going to make it happen somehow, some way.
Claudia, do you mind pinning your own screen so that we can see
Sure.
it?
Okay. All right. Oop, here we go.
Hello, hello. This video is in salute of Dr. Osa Bear, who
wait, hold on. Why isn't it? There we go.
Hey, folks. My apologies for not being able to be present for the Mujeres de Maíz screening of Mosquita Y Mari. So I just wanted to create this video to say thank you. Thank you to Mujeres de Maíz for the space that you all have provided for so many of us, brown mujeres, artists. I remember when I first landed in LA, one of the first places that I screened a short that I did in film school was at an event at Self-Help Graphics. And although it wasn't a Mujeres de Maíz event, I think that a lot of the Mujeres de Maíz women were there. And I immediately found community and an audience for my work, which was extremely validating. As you all know, this is an industry that continuously devalues our voices and the need for them. So to be able to have a direct connection to a very vibrant, active audience for my work was very inspiring. And so I'm grateful to Mujeres de Maíz. I'm grateful to you all who have supported Mosquita Y Mari through the years. I hope that you enjoy the screening or you've enjoyed the screening. And I'm really open on social media. Like, I'm down to answer questions. You can always DM me on Instagram or Twitter. That sounds very millennial of me, but that is just what it is now. I hope everyone is safe, and I look forward to being in conversation with folks sometime soon. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. That wasn't Jesus Christ. Hold on.
Hello. This video is in salute of Dr. Osa Bear, who has played such an instrumental part in my career as a filmmaker. Bear, you were the first living, breathing Chicana filmmaker that I met or even knew of as I was coming into my artistic self, even through film school. Like, you were the first, which is wild. To think that is the state of where we were then and still kind of are, in that there are still so few of us. But the fact that you exist and your work exists and that you were so available to me was huge. Such a huge source of inspiration and knowledge that no one else had. And you were always so available and willing to share all that you were learning in school and from your own practices. And that generous spirit, that creative spirit, to be able to be around that as I was trying to figure out, how I wanted to tell stories and what they meant to me. I will always really appreciate because you held space in a way that no one else was holding space for me and so many of us. And I feel like it's so critical for, especially if there are academics that are listening in or other budding filmmakers, that they understand that you are a part of our canon of Chicana or Brown Latinx mujer filmmakers, and that they need to know your work if they don't. They need to teach your work, and the youngsters need to know about you and to honor you, and they will not regret that work and that research, and that I'm just really honored to know you, and to call you una hermana in this struggle. And I'm really, really happy that Mujeres de Maíz put this panel together, so many of us could say things like this to you. So I have a tremendous amount of love for you, Osa, and respect, Dr. Osa Bear. And I hope that you continue to do the work that you're meant to be doing, and that it gets published so we can read it and digest it and include it in the whatever seeds we're planting as creative people in the world. And I love you very much. And cheers to you. Thank you.
Aho, trazo kamati. So
you all are so beautiful. You all are just so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all so much. I don't think I've experienced anything like this before. So if I'm going to come out in any kind of public way, I'm glad I'm doing it with you all. Big time, big time. Auro-san, I love you. And Claudia, I love you. And Itza. And now that I know you, Dilo, thank you. Beautiful spirit. And some of the folks that I think chimed in on I don't do the chat yet that much, but a few of the notes somehow that came across the desk thing here. I love you all too, because obviously all of us, to do film, you need an audience, right? So that's an important part of the whole dinner or lunch, as a bear would say. That's good. That's good. I love you.
And these are virtually for you.
Oh, you always think of all that. Right on. Thank you. I didn't show the marginalized because I didn't want you to be a little embarrassed.
Oh.
That's adult home.
I'm glad you considered me.
No, we didn't want to show the adult home movies here.
Right.
That's another screening. That's for another screening.
Thank you all.
But what a blessing, and yes, thank you to Aurora. She's really busy, couldn't make it, but this was her way of trying to definitely send her regards. And
beautiful.
And Dalila's here in spirit too. So
Dalila, leave with power, Dalila.
So yeah, it's been a blessing in all ways. And so anyhow, I just want to say thank you also for taking the time out to share with us and to come and support us. You need support too. And I just want to plug in for you as well, like for any professors out there that, Osa, I'm sure, is willing to visit your class and, give a kick-ass class for you guys whenever you need a guest artist, a guest lecturer. I'm sure she would be happy to do so. So, yeah.
Are we closing out right now?
Yeah, I think it's time.
We're past the hour.
No problem. I want to just say thank you to everyone here. Bear, thank you so much. It's been absolutely incredible to see all your work. Thank you, Maritza. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Mujeres de Maíz. Thank you, everybody out there, for being a part of this. And please, please, please spread the word about all the incredible work that Mujeres de Maíz is doing. Particularly, we are trying to get funds for this beautiful documentary. So please spread the word and share with all your folks. The link is right there, and it will be all on both the Mujeres de Maíz YouTube page as well as their Facebook page, and of course everywhere through Instagram.
And
So,
on the website too. So.
On the website, yes, the website is like the one that you can like lean back against and know that you'll connect to everything else through there. So thank you once again, and we will see you soon.
Be well, people. Thank you.
If I could please share something before we all go, we have a Sunday. This Sunday, we have Sanación Sunday. And that's every Sunday we're doing something for the month. So you'll tune in. You could tune in at 12:30. It's titled Honoring Our Plant Relatives, Culinary, Cultural, and Medicinal Relationships. So tune in this Sunday at 12:30 at Mujeres de Maíz YouTube and Facebook. And and then check out our website and you can see a lot more programming happening. Music Mondays, Writing Wednesdays, and Film Fridays. So thank you all. It's been an honor to be here.
Be well, folks, and have a good night. Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Thank you.